Am I live? Oh, shit, I am live. Let's hope this goes better than the last time I did an impromptu live stream. Which I think I deleted off the channel because of reasons. Mostly because it was like 30 seconds long, and it was... I tried to live stream it from my university, where I had with some of my peers, and I thought that would be quite funny. The live stream failed really, really quickly because it just stopped running. I am running. Let me just double check that my audio is working. That would be really, really embarrassing if my audio is working. That would be really, really embarrassing. Cool, I can be heard. Holy shit, there are 2 people watching. Sweet. Okay, so essentially I was actually looking through the old Stable Tech channel, and you know, I haven't looked at some of the comments on there in a while. And I actually wanted to rewatch some of the videos because there are some pretty solid videos on there, and you know, it makes me think back to that time. And now that we're at the end of 2017 and we're beginning the second year of East Corp, I thought I wanted to go through, especially I was going through the comments section for the first episode of Terminal Secrets, and just I was looking through the comments. I thought, you know, it'd be kind of cool in the next episode of the podcast if I go through all the comments and just break them down. But then I decided, yeah, fuck it, I'm not really doing anything right now, so let's do a retrospective surprise podcast where it's just Vermont. Hello, Luna, I see you in the comments section. So I'm sorry to disappoint everyone. It's just going to be me today on account of I don't have the proper streaming software on my phone. So it's just going to be me. I actually really would like to do it off my computer, but my computer doesn't have a mic in it, and the connector that usually connects my lapel mic to from my phone to the mic from my computer to the mic I kind of put it in the wash after the last time I hosted a podcast, which not great. It stopped working, which is unfortunate. So I haven't been able to host a podcast since then. Which anyway. So we find ourselves at the end of 2017, and I just came out earlier today of an hour-and-a-half meeting with my writing lecturer. Shame he's not a big fan of me. I think I give him a little bit more trouble than he deserves. I'm quite a difficult student. Everyone who, if you listen to the podcast, which, I mean, if you're in this comment section, you very, very likely watch our podcast or listen to our podcast, you'll know that I'm a very opinionated person. And it's very, very hard to break me out of those. I'm a very stubborn person. It's entirely possible I might even be a little bit egotistical and arrogant. Very possible. Oh, and if Needle Stitch watches this video later, I made this tea in a kettle. Fuck you. So, don't expect something overly coherent. This is mostly just going to be me going through comments on old Terminal Secrets videos, and on a few of the old Stable Tech videos. I'm going to do the entire Terminal Secrets series, including some of the promotional stuff. I'm just going to discuss them. Obviously, I'm going to do my best not to spoil what's happening in Terminal Secrets 5 and 6, but I mean, so it's currently hidden under can switch it. There we go. So it's currently hidden under there. But the if you look under the plushie of me wearing glasses and all of that, you will find the thingy. You'll see the script for Terminal Secrets Episode 5, which I'm still busy. Final round of edits are still going through. These last 3 weeks of college have been really, really tough and just been distracting me so much, which is why I haven't appeared on the podcast very often. But that should be changing now that I've finished and I'm on holiday for the term. That should be changing. So, hooray! Bulk of content. Okay, so we're going to get started. I'm going to go dig up and find episode 1. Hello.
You talking to yourself?
No.
No one else wants to listen to you. You must be talking to yourself.
There are 4 people that want to listen to me.
Yeah, it's all the same person. They just logged on 4 different computers.
That's just rude.
Pretty much, yes.
Hello,
yes,
Aurelia.
I'll swim with you.
She really, really wants to go swimming. I was bored, so I started up a live stream, and I'm doing a retrospective. And we will be starting all the way down over...
Over there.
Yeah, I could feel my phone already overheating from the 7 minutes of live streaming. Fucking Apple products.
Yeah, getting a new phone. Speaking of laptop, we're just turn on.
Okay, we're going to start with the main theme. I wasn't involved in this in any way whatsoever, but I really, really loved it. I thought it was a really nice. It was a really, really nice piece of music. We're going to pretend that that did not fall over, because this was, I think, one of the first major pieces that the Balefire Symphony did for Stapleton, outside of the Nuclear Winter Wonderland video. With the, I mean, I always really, this kind of has a, just gonna turn the volume down on that a wee bit. I always found that the song had a bit of a, it kind of had this like sort of actiony Game of Thrones vibe. Like you can sort of imagine that while the song was playing, you've got like that Game of Thrones style camera panning over different locations.
What the fuck? Turn on.
Fuck off. Very sort of epic, sweeping landscape type vibe. You know, I remember when they first released this, there was a lot of talk in the studio about them having, about the animation team working on an opening sequence that would be shown to the public ahead of the first episode being released, which I was really, really excited for, but we never really got any. They never told us anything about that outside of the fact that someone somewhere may or may not have been working on it, which is more or less what most of the communication was. It's a shame that such a fantastic song never really got any animation lent to it. It's quite epic. And my phone fell over again. It's gonna keep doing that. I should get a phone holder. And it's, holy crap, there are 166 comments on this one. Jesus Christ, 26,000 views.
On what?
On the original. Ah, thank you. It's a stand. It's a stand over there. Oh my god! Aurelia, did you put a horn on Mila?
It's a leprechaun. We have a leprechaun. There you go. Hello, leprechaun. Custom animals.
I don't want to swim.
You have to swim. You're not allowed to play computer.
Why?
Because your sister wants to swim.
I have to do everything with her.
Yep.
Okay. Let's just put that back over there. Now that there is a holder. There we go. That's so much nicer. Thank you.
Yeah, dude, you should ask. I've got tons of this shit.
Yeah, no, you do. All right. That's just going to make life a buttload easier. Let me just get that right over there. It's interesting back in those days when they had more, because of the viewership that the studio used to get. It's just interesting seeing the massive variety of comments, because I'm still, the first episode of Terminal Secrets is still the best viewed with 5,600 views, and 5,600 views, 117 comments, 250 upvotes, and 1 downvote. Now that has always been something that Skybolt and I have always prided ourselves on, and James Kelly too, is the fact that we've got our viewership has tended to be quite small for our kind of content, which we're working on, and it's slowly getting there. But one thing that we've always sort of kept, that we're always very, very proud of, is that our likes to dislike ratio has been, there's been a very, very big difference. I think across the entire East Corp channel, we've had maybe 10 dislikes on the 120 videos that we've made. I think it was a Terminal Secrets video that when we first started East Corp, I think we went about 3 or 4 months before we got our first dislike. So at the very least we know that our content has been going to the people that like this kind of stuff, and the people who are into this kind of stuff have found our content very entertaining. It's just always a very nice piece of consistency that we are very, very proud of. Okay. Oh, it's gonna get that framing right. I want to shift though from that song all the way up into the very first episode of Terminal Secrets. So I remember. So the thing that this episode is the most notable for is that its sound editing is absolutely horrendous. And are you racing, Aurelia? He's probably delaying.
That's okay. Can't touch your computer. Wait for your brother. Wait for your brother.
So I find it. So the thing that this episode is the most well known for is its absolutely horrific audio editing, which I find really funny because so I'd made the decision to do the editing myself as a way of challenging myself and improving my audio editing, which people who had worked with me in the past were well aware of the fact that my audio editing was it was horrible, it was shite ass. I'd spent my previous 2 years I'd spent 2014 and 2015 as a video editor, working in TV on a reality show and on the Premier Soccer League Awards. So my video editing was very, very up to snuff. It's still very good. But my audio editing really left a lot to be desired. So editing Terminal Secrets Episode 1 was kind of my way of fixing that by taking on this big challenge and hopefully pushing myself and learning new ways of editing to become a better editor. And of course, the comment section completely disagreed with that method. And we're going to go through that now. So this was... The very first episode was edited in an afternoon, by the way, where that was the case of where I was just really, really stressed and I was in a really, really big rush to get this out, because I've discussed a lot in the past how Terminal Secrets went through a very messy, very rocky production process, and we are going to discuss it more in the Great Experiment documentary, which I can finally start working on that. I've put together bits and pieces of it here and there. Maybe I'll even open up the document and show you a little bit of what I have. Actually, yeah, let's I'll get that loaded up, and I can show you just a teeny bit of what I've been working on with that. But while I wait for that to load, I just need to see my file over there. So I was really, really eager for Terminal Secrets Episode 1 to go out because it had just been so fucking long. It had been cancelled and rebooted 5 goddamn times. I wanted this shit to come out, so by the time I had when I started receiving lines from the actors, it was sort of just cool. Let's pick the best one, shove it into places. I'll just guess where it's going to fall in the line of continuity, and then as lines come in, start throwing them together. Final edit, final mix, and levels take place in one afternoon. I get back from work, and let's just throw this shit together and make an episode and then release it. It was, and we were running on 100 gigs a month of data at the time, and we chew up data. 100 gigs a month. Yes, I'm including you in that list. We chew up. I mean, what we could easily do about 400 gigs a month.
No issues.
Yeah, no issues. That's about. I reckon that's about our minimum. So our package included a second 100 gigs that activated after midnight. It went from 12 to 6 or 12 to 7. So if I needed to do any uploads to the channel, I did it at that point. Also because that's when the American audiences were most awake, or at least that's what I thought. It took me a very long time to try to figure out when our audiences were the most likely to watch our videos. And then, of course, I realized YouTube analytics are a thing, which then told me. Which, by the way, most of our viewers are in Canada. Didn't actually expect that. But, yeah, a lot of Canadian nuclear death pony lovers. So, it was quite funny that we on the day of the upload, well, the evening of the upload, I thought it would be really, really cool to do the upload, then I get to go to sleep because it's night, and wake up to all these views and all these comments and people saying things, which is exactly what I woke up to, but what I did not realize was the 6 hours of nightmares, back to back. I would go to sleep, have a fucking nightmare about people hating Terminal Secrets. I'd wake up and feel really shitty about myself. I'd check the upload to see if it had finished uploading yet, and it hadn't because South African internet's fucking slow, and then go back to sleep. Another nightmare. Shit, like, who asked for this shit? What is this? Oh, no. So it was really, really nice to, when I did wake up, to see mostly positive comments outside of the audio editing. Okay, now we're going to scroll to the very bottom. And of course, the very first comment. If anyone is still wondering why Skybolt and I left the studio to start East Corp, it's comments like this that are that. Just gonna switch the camera. Looking forward to the first animated episode. The very first episode of this audio drama series that I had slaved away on for a year and a half, and the first comment on it was someone saying how forward they were looking to the animated series that the studio was working on separately from me. God damn, that was infuriating to see first thing in the morning when I finally did wake up. Holy crap. I mean, I get it that was the original purpose of the studio, was that we were making an animated series and our audio drama series were there to supplement. They were there to keep the channel alive and going and flushed with content, and essentially buy time for the studio to make more content. It didn't necessarily work because people kind of just kept noticing that we were stalling. And there was always at least one or two comments like that in every list. Although I do find it quite funny that there are a few comments there in that thread that then say, oh, the animation's been cancelled, and then you see me commenting saying, the animations have not been cancelled, I assure you. I even included caps. The animations have not been cancelled, I assure you. What did we do a year later? We cancelled it. At 90, huge part of the final decision to make the cancellation was Skybolt and I leaving, essentially taking. We took everyone who was doing work there. From artists to sound editors to musicians to voice actors to writers, we took everyone. You could say, well, that means you didn't take any of the animators. There were no freaking animators. There was one puppeteer who was useless, but we took everyone else who was of any worth at that studio. Now, there's some weird-ass comments on here. So the very second comment was someone who just said, is this real life? I still don't get that one. See an audio drop. Is he asking if is he asking if this is a documentary of something that actually happened? Is he asking if this really happened? Is it just fantasy? Is he trying to start a Bohemian Rhapsody sing-along? I mean, I'd be into that, but comment number 3 is that the episode was very edgy. Is that it was super, super edgy. So, in our first 3 comments, we have someone who's asked us for different content, someone who's starting a Bohemian Rhapsody sing-along, and someone who's saying that it's edgy. Not a good start. That's not a good start to my career in audio drama at all. Comment number 4. The audio editing was not particularly great. Pro tip, make the sounds of the transmissions and stuff quieter, blasting music before watching. Now my ears are bleeding because of those first 10 seconds. Finally, we arrive at comment number 5, where someone gave us a compliment. They said it was awesome. And to be fair, this it then kind of went up a little bit from someone saying that he missed he called it Tales of a Wasteland Pony, but obviously he's referring to Confessions. But he said that he preferred this to Confessions, which suck at Skybolt, suck a big dick. And from there, kind of just the comments flip from being from people talking about they really, really liked the writing and the story to what the fuck is up with the sound editing that was absolutely horrifying. In fact, I could actually see this actually makes me really, really happy because there are people who've been talking in this comment section on this live stream, and I can see their names popping up in their profile pictures, and it's really, really nice because I see them commenting on this very first episode with the timestamp marked from when the episode first came out, which blows my fucking mind that we have people who are watching this video of me doing my rambling and ranting and so on and sipping my kettle-made tea. Microwave tea is horrifying. And those same people who are watching this were people who were some of the first people to watch my content back when it first came out, which is mystifying to me. Like, really, it's just, yeah. People talking about the end. They really, really enjoyed the ending. Okay, there we go. We have one of the longer. Samuel Pierce, another person who has stuck with us since the episode first came out for a year and a half. Mr. Samuel Pierce has been a long-time fan of us, and here he is in this comment section leaving a multi-paragraph analysis of the episode, and we're going to read the entire thing. First of all, he prefaced it with an @Skybolt, which I always find that funny, because obviously Skybolt having been around a lot longer than I have, so he tends to soak up a lot more of the praise that is given to our studios directed toward him, and so this kind of makes more sense because Skybolt did the primary writing for the episode, with me doing the overarching story, creating the series, and obviously directing the entire thing. But nothing beats someone saying in a comment section, I'm so glad that Needle and Skybolt left Stapletech because it was holding them back. Fairly certain they meant James and Skybolt, because Needle hadn't been with us at that point. She joined us a month later. We're actually approaching her anniversary in a moment. I'm getting distracted. I have mixed feelings about this episode. I can't really explain it all that well, so instead I'll give my positives and negatives about it. To start, here's what I liked. The characters, especially the mayor who's overseeing all these experiments, is very likable. Pink Pippin's father is especially likable. They sound and act just like people you'd see in real life. This was quite nice. This was, so he's obviously talking about, he's talking about our series protagonist, Butterfly Stitch, at the time voiced by Nathikana and currently voiced by Needle Stitch. We made that changeover in episode 3, and then, of course, Pink Pippin and Pink Pippin's father, who are both, those were both fantastic characters. We really wanted to have Pinkin return through every single episode of Terminal Secrets, which is something I said back in the very first episode of of our first podcast series, which was Stable Talk, where I was trying to be all big and revealy, you know. Pink Pippin's going to be returning in every single episode of Terminal Secrets, but we killed her off at the end of this episode, because, again, at the time, it was around there where Skybolt and I were putting together, well, I say Skybolt and I mostly mean Sky, was putting together the reveal that that Pink Pippin would be returning in Confessions episode 6. So, just to give you an idea of how long we kept that reveal a secret, for about 1.5 to 2 years, that Confession 6 had been in the works, and that Pinkin's appearance was a thing that we just could not friggin' tell anyone. What else? Oh, so he said the parts that involved the mayor overseeing the experiments were kept to a minimum, which means the core story is focused and stays on track, which allows for smooth and steady plot progression. This is true. Originally, Terminal Secrets was meant to be, well, when I say originally, one of the previous versions of Terminal Secrets to this didn't have any overarching story at all. It was just stable experiment, stable experiment, stable experiment. It was a pure anthology series, something along the lines of Black Mirror. I added in Butterfly's story to give a sense of progression and plot pacing, and so over here it's kept a lot more. It's more, her pieces are more piecemeal. We're not told a lot about her character. We're not told a lot about who she is outside of her job, and it's only really. And you can kind of see the progression of my opinion of how I'm going to write her change throughout. Thank you, Ben. I now have a unicorn horn in my head. Cool. You can kind of see my opinion on how I'm going to write her change from the beginning of the episode to the end of the episode, because at the beginning I kept to that philosophy, but at the end of the episode it's surprise, I'm going to have her kill off all these ponies and start a huge arc with her that will only be resolved in episode 4. So that was, so the idea behind that was to just try and keep the focus on the stable stories without necessarily losing the pacing of of the story we were trying to tell. Okay, and point number 3 that Samuel liked, the general atmosphere, when it was consistent, he adds in brackets, was very strong and helped set the tone for the story appropriately. The moments that included more tense parts were especially engaging. Yes. So, despite the poor audio editing, there were moments where where everything came together nicely, which, yay, nice I take that as a compliment to my directing. I'm going to take that as a compliment. Everyone over here, I'm a good director.
Okay.
Shut up, Ben. I was talking at you, not to you. Does not require comment from the peanut gallery. Go lose at Overwatch. And my sister just... Aurelia, put your clothes back on, please. Okay.
That is not appropriate
Naked
for YouTube.
Exactly, the naked 3-year-old is not appropriate for YouTube. I mean, it's not appropriate for any of us. That's... No! This is why we don't do video live streams. This is why...
Fireworks.
Okay, so we're just gonna blow right past that and just move on. Samuel was just also in his multi-paragraph analysis of Terminal Secrets discusses the things he didn't like about this first episode. The ending he felt was quite cliche with both the characters and story setup. They were a bit longer to suggest, and suggested kind of an alternate ending, which is especially Dr. Needle. Her dialogue toward the beginning spelled things out right from the word go. So something that was very pervasive in the first 2 episodes of Terminal Secrets was that people still found some of the story to be quite predictable. Certain elements not as much, but other elements 100%. I think we hadn't quite got the hang of how to do suspense properly and how to... Are you just playing Skillet now?
What, on me?
That's my dad over there listening to Skillet. I mean, I'm not against it. I'm a big fan. At the time, we hadn't entirely figured out how to do... Oh, I actually have people in the... Yeah, I've got someone in the comment section asking you to turn the volume up. Okay, Okart. Yeah, we're gonna get hit with a copyright claim. It's a good thing I didn't monetize this video.
And Jane is hot.
You make me feel invincible, earthquake, powerful, just like a tidal wave. My titanium, like a roar of victory in a stadium. And yes, that is Okart in the comment section over there. All right, where was I? Okay, cool. Yeah, so we hadn't entirely nailed how to do cloak and reveal at the time, and it's something that Terminal Secrets has always experimented with. It's up because I think I spoke about this on a previous episode of the podcast that Terminal Secrets is a very, very experimental series. A lot of it lets me play with genre and with pacing, tone, different kinds of characters, different themes. Because by its nature, Terminal Secrets requires every episode to have a different setting. It requires a whole different world, essentially, because that's what each of these stables are. Every stable is its own culture, community, its own world, which I do think you should take, which is something that's important to take into account when considering the final... the series finale of Terminal Secrets is Kill the World, so it's something that's meant to very much play on that. It's not just an edgy title that I randomly came up with, Mr. Ducks. If Ducks still watches these videos, but he was the guy who called edgy in the comment section of the first video. I'm not offended. Okay. There's a lot. So, funny enough, so one of Samuel's negative comments was that the voice acting was quite meh. While some voices, such as Dr. Vessels? I don't think he was called Dr. Vessels. I can't remember his exact name. And Dr. Needle's monologue, he quite liked those, but didn't... Oh, no? No, he wasn't making them an exception. He said they made him cringe. That's something I very, very much disagree with. I thought they really nailed their voice their lines, especially Hypnodunk, Maddie Gosshorn, who does I think half of the female voices across our East Corp catalogue. I do think though that our voice quality has got better over time, with a lot of our voice actors improving with practice and with us hiring and bringing on more talented voice actors to fill out the additional roles that we've opened up. Obviously, the most notable addition we added to our cast were Dusty Cat and Obab Scribbler, who voiced Backstrap and Mint Cream in episode 4. And they obviously received a lot of praise for what they did. And we've had some fantastic, just really, really fantastic auditions for Terminal Secrets episode 5. From a production standpoint, this is going to be our strongest episode, and I say that right off the back of episode 4, which, I mean, episode 4 got rave reviews. People friggin' loved it. It was the first episode of Terminal Secrets that I felt fully deserved every bit of praise that it got, which I suppose I'll get to that in a moment. We're going to keep going up on the comment section. We had that one. There's this one comment from someone called the Ignorant Apple, who I just love it. She wanted us to change Pinkin's name to Pimpin, which I just dig. Ow, fuck. These caramel eclairs are really tough. No, they're really tough on the teeth.
Not really.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, everything's
Maybe
tough.
I just got a
If I
soft
put that in
brand.
my mouth, it'll be over.
Everything's tough on your teeth.
There will be no fucking teeth left.
All his teeth are fake.
Those that are left.
There are teeth left?
A couple.
I assumed they were all fake. Alright. Back to the comment section. That was on par with how Fallout treats the type.
Seriously, I'm trying to work here.
And so is goats.
Shane,
Stop
I
licking
quite-
my socks.
Every now and then there are some. I like when people compare us to our source material. It's always a really, really nice compliment. So we had the one person who was saying how he felt it was on par with how the Fallout titles treat Vault Dwellers and how they're experimented on, which that was just really, really nice.
The Witless Snork.
The Witless Snork. That's a weird name. Is that... What's his profile picture? Is that a Homer Simpson? No?
What is that?
No, it's a Muppet. It's a surprised-looking Muppet holding Kylo Ren's lightsaber.
It's Darth Muppet.
I dig it. I dig it.
Darth Muppet.
And then we have Doc Diamat, who's also in this comment section as well. Chaos requests a Vermont's Dad music podcast.
Oh. Okay. On the Hey Joe Big one. At some stage.
What?
So I'll do it on Hey Joe Big at some stage.
Oh, will you do?
Is it
Will you do one on your own channel then?
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Cool.
I need subscribers, dude.
Yeah, you definitely need subscribers. Although, I mean, so his channel's not doing amazing in subscribers, but he is out viewing us like a motherfucker. It's really embarrassing.
Haha.
So yeah, so we're going to look through a comment left by Doc Diamat, who's a recently joined patron of, I think he joined us at the beginning of November? No. He joined us midway through October, just before the anniversary. I try really, really hard to remember as much as I can about our patrons when they join us, because obviously they come into the Discord chat and they talk a lot. Like, I'm on a lot of Discord chats.
I'm only on 5.
Usually for people I work with. I'm on the EQD one from a time when I worked with them a bunch. A few others, one for Untypical, a few audio dramas. I don't talk on any of them really, unless it's related to work. But dear God, do I talk on the East Corp one. Because just the patrons we have in there that talk are really, really, really fantastic. Although I do wake up every now and then, find 300 different posts, and a lot of it is usually it is usually Wendy, Smart Horse Crescent, and either Fuzzy or Chosen going slightly NSFW. I can see her calling me out in the comment section now. There's just the comment section. Wendy, hey! I mean, it's true. Slightly, yeah. She's offended that I said she only goes slightly NSFW. It's true. You do not. So we have a section of the Discord chat which is NSFW. We stuck that in, like, friggin'... We stuck it in its own little channel. Oh god, Jesus Christ, the dog's there, a massive fart. Oh god. Oh no! Mira! Why would you do that?
Because you can.
Seriously. It's aimed its fart cannon right at me. Oh god. What is... No. No. Okay, so I'm going to speak to you through a... Through a shirt now. Okay. So yeah, we actually have the booty barn chat. It's, well, yeah, Stitch's booty barn, because naturally Needle has to take over everything. Also because Needle controls it, runs it, and deals with banning people who don't adhere to the booty barn rules. I will not be discussing anything of that because this is a very safe for work podcast, as all of our podcasts except for the Valentine's Day one are usually pretty safe for work. Valentine's Day was its own can of worms. We get to the next 14th of February, I just don't know how we're really... Well, obviously I know how we're going to top it, but I can't really talk about it. But we have a lot more holiday specials planned. Because we just had so much fun doing the April 1st ones. I have way too many ideas for the April 1st podcast. We've got a lot of holiday specials planned. Okay, I think the air's cleared. The dog hasn't even woke up. No, she's asleep. The dog is asleep. That was a sleep fart. Right?
Sleep fart. Do those make it stinkier?
No, I feel like a sleep fart is when she's not even trying. So, okay, I think we've jumped off of Doc's post a bunch of times, so we're gonna try and finish that. Interesting, can't wait to see how it goes from this point on. Stable 81, like Vault 81 in Fallout 4? No, was definitely... We picked the stable numbers completely at random. Mostly we just try and find ones that haven't been written about in the extended universe yet, which is really difficult considering that there are, I think, over 200 spin-offs now of the original book. I mean, what the fuck? Why? There's so many! I can't read all of those! It's really, it's a really good thing that KCAT doesn't... That she's so particular on what gets made canon and what doesn't. I mean, only one spin-off was ever made canon, which was the Mayor We're Fighting For story. But we still try to keep to the canon of the stories that we have read, just to try. You know, every now and then it does come into sort of consideration if we try bringing characters over from spin-offs that we've read. Like, I wouldn't mind using Hired Gun from Heroes, because I still think Heroes is fantastically written. Obviously not a big fan of Project Horizons. We've waxed on about that for ages and ages. Okay, what's next? I always liked this. That whole experiment is really stupid. I guess no one here has heard about the placebo effect. It's one of my favorite negative comments because we very, very clearly based the episode's premise was about the power of the placebo effect. About the placebo effect.
What is that?
So the placebo effect essentially discusses the power of the mind. So, for example, to break down really simply, if I took you and 5 of your friends, and you were all sick, and I gave you all a pill, and said, I give you a pill every single day, and I said, okay, cool, every single one of you is taking a real pill.
And the pill wasn't real.
And the pill wasn't real.
Yeah, and it's still, yeah, you told me about that, but it said you used the glass of water, for example.
Exactly. The argument there is that you could still get better. And we used it here.
That makes sense. Like,
yeah, there's a lot. I don't want to go into it too much because I haven't done a lot of research on it myself.
research everything.
Exactly. So, well, the thing, I didn't write the placebo sections of the episode, Skybolt did. And so he's done a fuckload of research into, I mean, to the point where all the crucial figures in the development and research of the placebo effect are referenced in small Easter eggs throughout the episode with character names, incidents, and so on. So it's actually quite interesting. All the little the history of the placebo effect was documented really, really clearly in this episode, because this episode revolved so strongly around the placebo effect. The idea that that these ponies they had actual headaches forced on them, horrible migraines, and they were told, which was fed to them through gas, but they were told it's due to radiation, to a permanent change in the structure of their DNA. And then, after about 30 years, I don't remember the exact time that we specified, and he says the idea is that they then stopped pumping that gas in. But everyone had spent their entire lives with their headaches. And they thought, and because they were told it's a problem with your DNA that will never go away, they just kept having the headaches. And when their children wake up, what is the first thing a baby does when it's born?
Screams.
Exactly. And so their children are born, their children cry, and their minds are now the parents' minds are conditioned to believe that they have headaches. So they immediately project that onto the children. They tell the children as they grow up, you have headaches. And the only way to stop these headaches is to take this once-a-day cure. It's once-a-day serum. And the purpose of the experiment was to look for the people whose minds subconsciously were not fooled, who believed that the headaches were real, but who just didn't get headaches, who were immune, essentially.
Ah.
That was the purpose of the experiment in the story. Essentially, Total Secrets is essentially just us trying to figure out if you could think of the most horrifying ways to make humanity better, that's your story. That's what it is. How horrifying can we make human nature?
Right, time to educate your friends again.
Oh, are we listening to Jack Barrow? So, I actually think the Dutch listeners in here might dig it. We have very, very varied tastes in music. Okay, so please stop traumatizing my viewers.
There's a bunny beating someone up, and every time he pushes his blood comes out his mouth.
Yeah, because it's Steve Hoffman. Inside the bunny suit.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, this is when him and Steve were having that big fight.
I mean, everyone's usually having a fight with Steve Hoffman. He's a bad guy.
So he wrote the whole song and made the video.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And Joe, the thing comes off and there's a Steve Hoffman lookalike.
Oh, solid. Solid choice. Okay, Aurelia is at least wearing some form of clothing.
On the thing,
it's not great, but it's a form of clothing, I suppose. Okay, we're going to ignore that now.
All I have to do is just back.
Go.
Amazingly, I was actually waiting to see if the viewer count would just drop. It did not. It actually went up by 1. Okay. Really? Really? Fuck off. Fuck off. Okay, I think we're more or less through. Obviously, I'm not reading every single comment on this first episode because there's a lot. I mean, there's 117. That's too many to just go through every single one. But I'm kind of just going through the ones that I found the most interesting, or the ones that what was I gonna say? The ones that were just sort of the longest, or that analyzed the series and so on. And yeah, after a while, it kind of just after a while, comments do sort of start to flow one into the other. A lot of comments do start to repeat points. That's not saying that I don't appreciate every comment. I still read every comment, and I reread comments, and because this isn't the first time I've gone back and gone through every single comment on a channel, and especially on videos I've made. I do this as regularly as I can. It's always just a really nice reminder. So I still adore and love getting comments. No, point your fart cannon somewhere else. No, Mila. No. Don't look at me like that. No, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking at you. I'm talking about you. Okay. And yeah, I think that brings it to it for the end of episode 1 of Terminal Secrets. We're going to close that file, and now that we've sort of segued out of that, I'm gonna show you this, because I've been working on. I started throwing this together a while back, which is kind of just bits of the Great Experiment. So I'll show you a little bit of what I've got at the moment, and we can just discuss that. For those of you who are unaware, The Great Experiment is a documentary series. I think we're doing it in 3 parts, 3 or 4 parts.
Woohoo!
What?
New season of Elementary.
What?
New season of Elementary.
Ugh. I mean, I'm not saying Sherlock's much better these days, but
Yes,
still.
but at least, Elementary actually makes fucking episodes, so you don't have to wait 20 years to get them.
I suppose, yeah. Anyway, so essentially, The Great Experiment is a 3-part documentary series that Skybolt and I are doing, where we very much in the vein of Waking Sleeping Beauty, which is the documentary about the dark times at Disney, where we discuss what happened at Stapletech in full detail from beginning to end. I'm talking a multi-hour documentary breaking down everything, because a lot of shit went down at Stapletech. A fuckload of shit happened there. And it's really, really interesting to talk about, between the egos colliding and the way every year kind of ended. It's kind of it feels like the end of a season of TV, or how you sort of would move characters about, and it's interesting to watch, because Skybolt and I when we started, we didn't talk to each other. We didn't really know. Neither of us knew the other really existed. We worked in very opposite ends of the studio, and pushed our way through separately, so the stories start very separate, with Skybolt talking about the music and voice acting side of the studio and a lot of the managerial side, and there's me talking about the writing team. And it's interesting to watch those 2 paths converge and get closer and closer and closer, because obviously we finished mapping out the entire story and what we're going to say. It's just a case of finishing recording and editing everything. It's nice to watch those 2 paths just come together, because if we weren't sitting here in the present, you wouldn't really expect it. It's one of those things I really, really enjoy about life, is that a lot of it isn't... A lot of things happen in life that I couldn't have written better myself. Anyway, so we'll take a quick look at what we've got over here. So this was the original intro and our first requests.
Hey guys, Little Pip here.
And Calamity.
And we need your help, every pony.
Plus, I haven't had a proper holiday in, well, ever.
It'd be a nice change of pace to spending the night keeping those solstice-crazed raiders under control.
Oh, and I know for a fact that Homage plays all the old hits during the...
We're happy to announce some very special guests. Stable Tech will be there talking about Stables 101 through 110, currently under construction, as well as several other special projects in the works.
A project that might slow things down a bit as well, so it's going to be very slow. Another little logistical problem is, back to the animation, is yeah, it's going to have to be rushed in some cases, because they're going to, whether they acknowledge it or not, they will have a pressure on them to upload each episode on a semi-regular basis. And there's always going to be one person in the comments saying, "Where's the next episode? Come on, where's the next episode?"
You got yourself some red, cucumbers, orange, shit. Gotta flip some shit. You got, Mama, you fucked up. Keep on talking like that. I'm gonna eat your ass, huh? Expecto Patron. Don't fuck me in the ass. Nigga, oh no.
My name is Malicorn, and I'm Stable Tech Studios Director of Puppet Building. We know you have all been very much anticipating our upcoming animated series, and we want to let you know that work is still well underway. At the moment, however, we are extremely short on animation staff, so at our current place, it'll be a very long time before a finished first episode is released.
Now, here's a song that still strikes a bittersweet chord with me, because wherever life's journey takes you, every story must come to an end.
Hello, Wastelanders. This is James Vermont with an important but difficult announcement.
Sounded weird.
It's time for us to move on.
Hello, everyone. It's been a while, hasn't it? You're probably wondering where Episode 1 is, or why we've been so silent recently. The only thing we as a studio can say is sorry. Sorry that it's been taking so long and not much has been said about it. Please note that I am not making this video to try and cause any trouble. I feel that everyone needs to know what's been going on in the past few months. For those of you who don't want to hear the entire story, the production of Episode 1 and the Fallout Equestria series is being cancelled. This, in other terms, means that Stable Tech Studios is shutting down.
If we're going to tell you about the adventure of our lives, explain how we got to this place with these people, and why we did what we did next, we should probably start by explaining a little bit about Fallout Equestria. Okay, so that's a little bit of what we've currently got. So it's kind of the idea of opening it up with just a very quick blow through of the studio's lifespan of, hey, we're a thing, be excited by us, to people being kind of, are they going to be able to pull this, or like, even if they get an episode out, how are they going to do this, to, I mean, one of the most fantastic, someone went and made a fucking meme video about all the problems at the studio, to fucking them saying it might be some time before we release the episode, to me and Skybolt saying, by the way, we're fucking off, to Nightly's final video, which was basically just rip us. So it's going to be quite so I'm really, really hoping that we can finish The Great Experiment this month. I'm going to try over the next week to get as much of that edited and recorded as possible. Then it's just editing in and doing the last Skybolts things, and then we should be done. That should be it for that should be it for the for the first part of The Great Experiment. It's going to be done in multiple parts. We're trying to do, because there's just, it's very, very fucking long.
Yeah, Are you saying long or wrong?
Long. Definitely saying long. So it's just a case of trying to tell that entire story in slightly more bite-sized chunks. We're trying to do it kind of as a 2013 to 2014 part 1, 2015 part 2, 2016 part 3, and then the 2017 epilogue, as in the birth of East Corp and the final end to Stable Tech Studios. Alright, so that's a little teeny tiny progress update on the Great Experiment, which I just thought was quite a nice little way to cap things off. You know, I haven't actually been paying much attention to the comment section. Oh, there hasn't been much of an update since they were talking about cats in the comments. Boo!
Cats in the comments.
Right.
Cats in the comments.
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 Bet I can shout cats in the comments lighter than Ben. I totally won that.
Cats in the comments.
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 I'll go get your sister.
Okay, fine.
I'm loudest.
That was catty.
I'm like trying to fucking work.
That's what you call it.
Fuck you.
Hashtag zebra dick.
Fuck, why is that there?
Okay, so that kind of... Oh, wow, I am running low on battery. Should probably put my phone on charge. Bzz, bzz. Cool. So, we're going to push ourselves through a little bit further. So, directly after the birth of Terminal Secrets, we, of course, had the Stable Talk podcast, which I originally founded the Stable Talk podcast back in... Oh, I just turned off Google Chrome. Fuck. I meant to turn off iTunes. Not quite sure how I made that mistake. Just gonna fix that and get my... Okay, so originally I created Stable Talk because I was doing behind the scenes in the reality show I was working on. And Stable Talk at that point was an interview series which had
The Reinhardt is evil.
Engineer is not the master episode. I love you, Urquhart, I love your voice acting. But Gold Doctor for life, hashtag Gold Doctor master episode. That should stir things up. It's really going to piss off Urquhart, our favourite friend from the north. And I'm just going to scroll back down to... Oh, wait, no, I'm in the east. I'm on the wrong channel. I went to the East Corp channel, not the Stable Tech channel. What?
I'm laughing at you.
You can hear me?
Yeah, well, I haven't started editing.
Okay, so... Yeah, we made the Stable Talk podcast. The original version of it was... Did you just call me Monty?
Someone called you Monty.
Well, I suppose Vermont, Monty, I kind of get that, yeah.
James Vermonty.
James Vermonty. I'm not popularizing that. That's not going to be a thing.
That has to be a thing.
No, it's not a thing. Fuck off.
That has to be a thing.
No. No, go away.
That has to be a thing.
No, go drown yourself.
No.
Yes.
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 No.
Blowing smoke at me. Smells really, really nice, actually.
Yeah, but I don't like when Dad blows smoke at me.
Oh, and then of course, if they're now calling me Monty, then naturally they're changing the gender bent me to Femme Monty. See,
dude, it's fucking December.
Yeah, it's December. I know. I thought fucking hilarious when I went to class this morning and it was like 8 o'clock. I sat there. Does November have a 31st? What day? Oh fuck! It's December.
No, I got to school to fetch him today and told the radio we were going up the hill as a special treat on a Thursday to go fetch him. Someone stole my fucking Thursday.
Why? What day is it?
It's Friday. Somehow it's fucking Friday.
Wait, I knew it was December. I just didn't know it was Friday.
You also didn't know it was Friday?
Somehow, yeah.
Am I the only one that didn't have the Thursday still in?
Someone stole fucking Thursday.
I mean... Okay then. It's Friday. Not that it... Hang on.
Really makes a fucking difference anyway.
Hang on. Hang the fuck on. We're doing it! Do you remember this motherfucker? 7 a.m. waking up in the morning, got something else. Taking on and on, everybody's rushing. I see my friends kicking in the front seat, kicking in the back seat. Gotta make my mind up. Which can I take? It's Friday, Friday. Gotta get down on Friday. Gotta get to the weekend, Friday, Friday. What is that voice that she's using? To the weekend. Yes. Yes. Does anyone want to talk about the fact that she didn't go to school? She didn't go to school in this video.
Hey, dude.
Is that Rebecca Black?
Now.
What the fuck? I mean...
Oh, new song.
No, fuck off. No, we've got to go through, we haven't even got to the best parts. We haven't got to the random black guy yet. Yeah, so back in this era, every pop song had to have a random rapping black guy. Like, all of them. Like, it's Friday, we so excited, we so excited. I'm amazed I remember the lyrics. Tomorrow is Saturday, and Sunday comes afterwards. Who writes them? No. No, it's pretty horrible. I mean, there's a line there where he says, the bus in front of me makes tick-tock, tick-tock, wanna scream. That's not even a sentence. In a world where Lin-Manuel Miranda is penning rap, that is fucking horrible.
New Rebecca back.
We're looking at what she's doing now then.
Besides getting hot.
God, we're traumatizing my patrons.
I'm going to build a third middle.
And it's just all caps people wanting to lynch me.
Lynch?
Yeah, they want to murder me.
Why must they want to murder me?
Okay, I promise you guys we'll play a fuckload of metal after this.
Is this thing on?
No. They want to kill me.
This is horrible.
I mean, she's got better. I mean, it's not necessarily good by any means, but yeah, it's very, very average and bland, but that doesn't necessarily... But...
It's typical millennial crap bullshit music.
Most of my viewers are millennials.
I know.
Okay then. So I did promise you guys some better music,
okay.
so...
Turn this the fuck off.
Okay, so... In order just to get to, I know exactly what we're going to, I know how we can fix this. Don't worry, I know how we can fix this. Fall of an Empire. So we're going to stick to our theme of shit that we did, and we're going to listen to a little, to cleanse our ears, we're going to listen to a little bit of Skybolt's symphonic metal opera, because that shit's... Exactly. I always bitch at Skybolt about the fact that the single best thing he has written was not for us, because I do really think that the writing here is very strong. So I'm just gonna let's go to.
Has that heard Fall of Crystal Empire? Fall of an what was it?
Fall of an Empire.
Yeah, has that heard it before?
So we're gonna jam some Fall of an Empire. It's all better. Love me. Please love me. There we go. Comment section's being nicer to me now. He's dancing. He's zebra headbanging. What?
Why does Zebra go to need glasses?
He doesn't. I didn't have any way to put these glasses, and they fit naturally on him, so. Okay. I mean, I'm a pretty big fan of.
Silly Lisa.
I'm a pretty big fan of Fall of the Crystal Empire. I think the writing in this is very strong. I thought this was a very interesting way of describing how a fight between gods would work. Well, they literally describe it as heaven's fury. Alright, cool. If for some reason there's anyone who listens to eScorp content who hasn't been exposed to Fall of an Empire, you really need to go see it, because, like I say, it's Skybolt's best writing. It's fucking fantastic. It's just 49 minutes of very well put together metal. Yeah, that's not the only zebra I have. I also have this one. I also have this little zebra over here.
Why do you need so many zebras?
I just collect them. It's not even like I actively search to get them.
You just find one and you keep it.
I have a bunch of them, yeah. And over here we got a little heart that Aurelia made me, which is upside down. I can't remember why I put it upside down.
I think you just did.
Yeah. Got a really nice piece of art over here, since we're talking about shit that I have. This was Butterfly Stitch from Terminal Secrets in her original form, which you can still see this picture in our original announcement trailer for Terminal Secrets, where we explained that it shows a little bit of what the series used to be, because as you can see, Butterfly Stitch was originally going to be from Stable 101, which fans of the series, fans of Fallout Equestria, will remember as Red Eye's stable, because, as we've stated before, I really want to tell a Red Eye origin story, and take this as fucking confirmation. There will be, in 2018, I will make a Red Eye origin story audio drama. That is happening. That is 100% happening. Where I've planned out bits and pieces of it, but it's really quite a difficult story to tell, because how do you... telling a Red Eye origin story would basically be like if you did Breaking Bad Season 5, Season 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what because you've already got your audience comes into it already knowing who he is, how he dies, everything about his life philosophy. It's just a case of explaining how he got there, and how do you make that, making that entertaining, immersive, enjoyable, and making it say something interesting. That's where the difficulty comes in. I've avoided. At the time, I didn't realize that I wasn't actually equipped as a writer to properly tell that story, and I'm trying to tell. I think that I'm at the stage where I'm capable of telling the story properly, but yeah, that comes from my original attempt to tell a Red Eye origin story. But yes, no, there will absolutely be a Kingdom of the Blind series in Regione Caecorum, which is Latin for the Kingdom of the Blind, which of course is the final, which is the title of Red Eye, of the chapter in which Red Eye was killed in the original book, because obviously it pertains to the original, to the full phrase being in the Kingdom of the Blind, the one-eyed man is king, or in the case of Foil Equestria, the red-eyed man. Okay. We were discussing something else. It just can't. We were discussing the Stale Talk podcast, but I'm just going to skip over that because I don't feel like it. To Terminal Secrets, episode 2, 537. So this was the first episode of Terminal Secrets that was released that I solo wrote. It's also the last episode of Terminal Secrets that I solo wrote. I thought that was quite funny that there's been a lot of collaboration with Terminal Secrets. Episode 1 was mostly Skybolt, with me filling in blanks here and there and writing butterfly stitches past the overarching story and then directing it. Episode 2 was purely me. Episode 3 was the same relationship, myself and Skybolt doing our thing. We expanded on Butterfly's role for a little bit, which I was happy with because I had a bit more to do here and there. And obviously I edit Skybolt's sections just to make sure they fit in nicely, or if I find things I don't quite like, and then I just adapt them here and there. Episode 4 was then again a similar relationship with myself and Daniel Mohan, who wrote the Pink Pippin sections of Tinned Mint, and then I wrote the Butterfly Stitch sections as well as the Vienna and Aria, as well as our Aria Moon monologue, which did very, very, very well with our audiences. Episode 5 is actually entirely written by Skybolt. I'm doing editing here and there, and the overall, and it fits into my overall arcing story, but episode 5 is 98% Skybolt, and then episode 6 is purely me. So it's quite interesting to me that despite how hands-on I've been with the series, and despite the fact that you know, at East Corp you've got the Skybolt series and the Vermont series. This is the Vermont series. Vermont has not written a lot of this by himself. This is a very collaborative series, which I really like. It helps us. It fits our very experimental guys. It helps us just alternate the feels of different episodes, and it really, really pushes me as a director to take all of these very different styles and different genres and very experimental methods of storytelling, and still make it feel verisimilitudinous. And there's a big word for you. I'm 98% certain I'm using it right, but if I'm using it wrong, I'm fairly certain Smut Horse is going to tell me in the comments section. Let's wait and see. I have not been told differently. I assume I'm right. Alright. Terminal Secrets, episode 2537. Again, this was another example of us being not necessarily bad, but failing to properly failing to do a proper reveal. there were one or two people in the comment section, and then a few in podcasts since then, who have said they very, very quickly picked up on what 537 meant, which kind of, some of them did say at the very least the the reveal still had impact, but they could still see it coming a mile away. It wouldn't be until later that I learned how to properly disguise a reveal and build up to it properly. And we're scrolling to the very bottom of the comment section, and this one got a much more this one got a nice solid response. It had a much lower viewership with 2,300 views, 49 comments, 115 upvotes, 0 downvotes. But the people who watched this were people, you can sort of see the beginnings of the East Corp fan base in this video, where the people who are commenting here were mostly the people who had who were big fans of Skybolt's work and my previous work, and were now carrying on, and they were sticking to what they found enjoyable. And so it's just nice to see more and more recurring names as we go. But also it means that the response was a lot more positive, because it was people who really enjoyed Terminal Secrets Episode 1 who carried on. So a lot of the comments stick to, I'm so glad that the sequel came out, it'll be perfect to listen to for work, or people being really, really happy at the increased length of the episode, people being really, really enjoying the quality of the quality episode, the fact that it was a stronger entry from an audio perspective, because this episode was, the audio editing here was a collaborative effort between myself and Kelly, it was then done over the course of about 2 or 3 weeks. So that really, really helped us. That really helped us with putting things together. What am I gonna say? Yeah, it just made for a more solid audio experience. Of course, the audio didn't reach its full potential until episode 4, but we'll get there as we talk about this. A much stronger entry, a truly appreciated victory. So few stables or even vaults get happy endings. Yes, because this episode got to have a happy ending after, because the ending to episode 1 was just so dark, so depressing. What with us telling the stories of these characters, having them overcome their triumph, having them arc, and then killing them all. Which I'm not entirely certain I would have done it. As an older, more experienced writer than the writer I was when I originally wrote this, I'm not 100% certain I would have made that decision to kill off those characters. There's quite a bit I would have done. I would have introduced Dr. Fractal in episode 2. I would have dropped hints at his existence in episode 1. He would have appeared in episode 2, by episode 4, where he was really introduced, by episode 4, I would have had him be a far more tangible threat. As a result, it's kind of the difficulty of writing a story. I find it quite interesting. I find this with Ruby as well, where when you tell a story over the course of multiple years, you can see the filmmakers getting better. With Terminal Secrets, you can very much see, from episode 1 through to episode 4, you can see Skybolt and myself becoming better writers. We have a lot more subtlety in how we tell our stories. The dialogue is far more entertaining. Our ability to withhold reveals and then still pay them off with adequate setup is a lot stronger. So, I mean, I actually very specifically discussed that with, sorry, something's just distracting me. Give me 1 second. Alright, cool. Crisis averted. Sorry. Slight work thing. Not related to East Corp, related to other thing. Alright. Cannot remember what I was saying, so I will pretend I never said it and continue scrolling forward. Oh, so we're at my favorite comment. My favorite comment on any video we've ever made, because I think this person put more thought into his or her comment than we put into writing the episode. So this is from a user called Blue, who wrote a very long analysis, and I will read the whole thing, because I quite enjoy it. The last one was a good thinker, because it really got you thinking about the generational indoctrination of ponies over the decades and how the mind can be so easily controlled by a lie. As one has said before, when a lie is told enough, even those being lied about start to believe it. It was a good psychological journey in classic tragedy style, that if you actually paying close enough attention, teaches a little bit about the placebo effect and ideological indoctrination, as well as a little bit about habitual processes and anarchical subversion. This one, while still being good overall, I feel was less thought-provoking and intriguing. This one, more focusing on the habit of humanity is to cling to what they know and what they're told, while nothing else is being said. So, when they were told to cease their beliefs in Luna and Celestia, the minds were left empty, and before long the careful implant was sewed into their minds, giving them the only single thing that could mean any hope at all. When the dark is all around, chase and follow the light you were given. This one, as far as interest and writing perspective goes, was good in the matter that it answered a few unanswered questions and showed us more in detail of what happened last episode. While it was also mostly insignificant to the story overall, the title and number in question at least managed to make me curious about what she was whispering, but frankly I found it quite easy to guess what it was pretty early. Overall, I was entertained. I had my own thoughts, I had my own ideas. I may like action, I may like beautifully written scenes and poetry, but something that can make me think, make me wonder, and make me long for more has obviously done something right in my book. I really, really like this comment, because it's one that sees that I like it when someone takes my work and really delves into it, and I really like when someone takes when someone looks at the positives and the negatives in that light. The commenter found flaws with the stories compared to the last one. The last one, she believed, had a lot more to say, a lot more relevant content to discuss, whereas this one, while it discussed something, it didn't discuss it as well, it wasn't quite as relevant, and it was fairly insignificant. That being said, at the end of the day, she was very entertained and believed that the story had done something right, and that this commenter wanted more, which I think is something that we often very much forget about. I forget about this all the goddamn time. That I bitch so much about Silly Philly Studios' animated short, Fall of the Crystal Empire, which tells the same story as Fall of an Empire, but worse, much, much worse. I've actually got a video essay that I've been editing that for the last few weeks that's going to be coming out. It is an hour-long breakdown using film theory and everything that I know, breaking down beat by beat, moment by moment. I mean, I spent, I think, 5 minutes just breaking down the first shot, that first 5 seconds.
First 5 seconds took 5 minutes.
Yeah. So I broke all that shit down because I hate it. I hate the story. I think there's a lot we can learn from how bad it is. But it got over 6 million views and was loved by most of the people who saw it. So at the end of the day,
Did not deserve it.
Oh, I still think it deserves all the hate I give it. I just think...
It not deserve all the likes it got.
I don't know. At the end of the day, it entertained a lot of people. And a lot of the people who watched, a huge part of that 6 million who watched that video really, really enjoyed it. Enough to come back and watch it again. Enough to praise it. And so, clearly it did something right. Clearly it hit upon something that I haven't noticed yet. Which I think is an important benefit of the doubt to give. I think it's important when we see stories that we don't like to try and find what people liked about them. It very well might be a case of oh look, this is an animation and it has ponies in it and it's confirming my headcanons and my fan theories, so I will like it. I think that plays into that a lot. That being said, I'm sure the people who, there's a friend of mine who's part of the South Africa Brony community who I have shown both Fall of the Crystal Empire and Fall of an Empire, and he liked the animation. He didn't like the opera. He thought the writing was good, but he didn't like it. He didn't connect to the characters, but he felt that he connected to the characters in the animation. I disagree with his reasons why. I really, really do, and I don't fully know what to make of it, but I think it's worth looking into. And that's why I really like comics like this one. Ones that do things that I previously was not capable of doing, of looking at stories that you don't, that you think are weak or weaker than other stories, and still finding something to like about them, still seeing why they work. I've tried really, really hard to see why Fall of the Crystal Empire is liked. Like I said, I wrote a 22,000 word essay, which is now being made into a video essay, breaking down this video. If there was something that I was going to like about it, I would have found it. There are little bits and pieces here and there, some interesting concepts. I really like how Luna's fight goes. It's got a very Weiss-Schnee kind of vibe to it. I really like the idea of using Sombra's fear power. I like the idea of mixing in a little bit of Nightmare Moon here and there. I just don't think that they handled that very well. There are good ideas in there. There really, really are. I just don't... Yeah. I'll make my opinions a lot more clear when I do the video. Anyway, we're at 92 minutes, and some work stuff has come up, so I'm going to have to cut this very impromptu. I'm going to cut this impromptu live stream short. Thank you everyone who put up with me for the last 92 minutes. Thank you very much. I hope I'll see you in, maybe I'll do, we've sort of found that our impromptu stuff has started to do really, really, really well. The Board AF podcast that Skybolt started recently did, that's at 335 views. That got there in a week. And it steamrolled the Twin Terrors podcast, our 1 year anniversary podcast, the Tempest Best Pony podcast, our movie podcast, the Wasteland Waifu podcast, the Terminal Secrets podcast. Yeah, the last podcast that did as well as this was released 2 months ago, which was another big shift in our format, where it was the Wasteland Waifu saga, part 2 of it, and the part before it that did quite as well was the first Wasteland Waifu saga, where we had Neil Stitch, Dan Mohan, a patron, and Somber, which, okay, so obviously that one did quite well. We added Somber to it, and we had Dan in a Vermont suit, which, God, it's a cute picture. Anyway, that is it for today.
Goodbye.
Ben says goodbye. We will chat again another time.
Unless you don't.
Unless we don't. But we probably will.
Mm-hmm.
I chat to people a lot. I'm a very talkative person. Goodbye. How do I turn this off?
With the off button.
There we go.